You do it because you love it.
I absolutely do it because I love it. Yeah. And I'm just going to complain about it. Welcome to a new episode of the Whet Palette Podcast. I am your host, Brenda Porpritkin. Today's episode is special. Miami-born, Colombian roots. We're walking through this chef's journey, kitchen by kitchen, city by city, to understand how discipline, restraint, and identity come together on one counter in Little Havana. Welcome, Chef Juan Camilo Liscano.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
It's considered Little Havana, right? That little area?
Yeah, so it's
kind of like on the...
interesting. Right when you cross that 7th Avenue bridge and it turns into 8th Avenue, you're entering Little Havana.
Okay.
But I think growing up, and I think for a lot of like Miamians, that area is considered like maybe Riverside or something like that. Like just...
I feel like unincorporated Dade. Like it's just Miami.
Yeah.
To me.
Like it's just part of Miami that is extremely close to like downtown and Brickell and...
Well, in the ball stadium now.
Yeah, where it's... You could walk there, I think, in less than 10 minutes.
Probably. I was just there last week, and that entire area is kind of blowing up.
Yeah. Yeah, now it is. Yeah, now there's I think I just noticed for the first time, Miguel was telling me that Bagatelle like opened on our side of the river.
Yeah.
Not too far away.
2 blocks.
I think they're using the lot like in the corner of the restaurant because I'm always seeing like Bentleys and G-Wagons and I'm like, I don't know which one of these like restaurants is using it, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, but you have Sea Spice and you have all these like what I call tiki places.
Yeah. And then you have Garcia's.
And then you have Garcia's. Yeah, but that's been there for ages. Okay, let's take it back to the beginning because we're going to get to all this Palma scoop later. You were born and raised in Miami?
I was born in Miami.
And raised everywhere.
And I moved a lot growing up. My dad always said the term an airline brat because I think a lot of the children of people that work in airlines, they tend to move around a bit, especially throughout your lives. It's like every 2 years, I think 2 to 3 years, we'd move somewhere new. Sometimes, we're in LA for just like 9 months, just barely there for the school year.
Right.
And then we moved again. So it was always moving around.
And then you mentioned that you ended up in Broward. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did quite a bit of moving around. I think after being in the Midwest, in a very, very cold place, I think both of my parents, they split. And then they both decided, like, let's go back to South Florida. And we ended up in Weston. Started, what was it, like, I think I started in 8th grade at Falcon, I don't remember, Falcon Cove, I think.
I don't know. I went to school in Miami.
Yeah.
I only now live in Broward, but I am Miami raised.
But I did year middle school and then stayed there throughout high school and graduated and immediately moved to Los Angeles.
But so that was at least a good stretch for me.
Yeah, like, that was our
those
longest.
Those years are important. Those middle school to high school.
Yeah, those like 4 years. That was the longest we ever lived anywhere in my entire life, aside from me being an infant. Right.
Were you relieved? You're like, okay, finally, or did you?
Like no, not really, because when you're young and you make friends and you have a best friend and then you like pick up your life and you move it. So you get used to living this way, and I think I was always expecting, like,
next,
are we going to go somewhere else?
Right.
Yeah, and I kept doing that, like, throughout my career because it was normal for me. I was like, okay, like, where to next?
Okay, well, you can't leave Miami.
No, I love it here. There's a reason I came back, and I'm staying.
This
is the longest I've ever lived anywhere in my entire life.
Okay. Good. Okay, so and both of your parents Colombian?
Yeah, from Cali.
De Cali, both.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you how is that? Did that influence your relationship with food in any way?
Do
you have anything that you go back to from growing up Colombian household in a Colombian household?
So my mom cooks like very well, and my dad does too. But my mom's, my grandmother, her family moved to Colombia from Palestine. So I grew up with a lot of like Middle Eastern like kind of dishes. Like,
influences.
like I was just at Mandolin yesterday, and he was doing these like Persian cauliflower fritters. I was like, this is literally the thing my mom used to make me.
Good.
It was one of my favorite things to snack on. It's like a green onion batter. It's not really supposed to be crispy. It's more like doughy.
Mm-hmm.
And you just dip like boiled cauliflower into it and fry it, and it's super delicious. So I grew up with a lot of that. She went to university in Mexico, in Puebla. So I grew up with a lot of like Mexican food as well, and it was always tasty. Like it was always enjoyment. It was always a little bit of like comfort and a lot of flavor. So yeah, I think naturally coming from a Latino family, like food is important.
Yeah. Say that again. At what point did cooking shift from something around you to something you wanted to pursue professionally?
So I always enjoyed cooking from like a young age, like a teenager. My mom worked. She's a full-time social worker. So it was me and my little brother that'd be around. So naturally there'd be like, heat this up, boil this pasta,
Mac
like,
and cheese.
put it together.
Yeah.
No, not like that either.
Oh, okay. That's what I was doing when I was coming home.
Thankfully, most of the time my mom somehow would find the time to like leave us things in the fridge, but it would always be like reheat it the right way.
Okay,
or
good.
sometimes we would want a pasta and just like open a can of tomatoes and fry some garlic and chili, and you dump the tomatoes in it, and you figured this is pretty easy. I can do this. So that was always fun for me, like from an early age. And I immediately my dad got an opportunity to move to Los Angeles, and I thought, I didn't take high school so seriously, so I didn't do any like serious college applications. I didn't have like a vision or like a path, for school. So I thought, what, let me go with him. He'll let me stay with him, and I can start school at a community college and take it from there and see what comes up. And I was just miserable. Like, I couldn't be more miserable. Going to school every day, being forced to take classes on things that I just were not even relevant to my interests. And my dad's like, you enjoy cooking at home, like, so much. Like, why don't you just try to get a job in that? So, Craigslist.
Do something.
Everything.
Yeah.
I am not joking. I think I sent, like, over 120 applications with a letter, like, just no experience. I'll do anything. And I got a job making frying French fries in a burger joint.
Okay.
Like in Sepulveda, like this weird area just outside of the airport, just outside of LAX. And I did that for a few months. I was like, this is kind of fun. Okay. I try to go find something like... I
was going to say, do you still like French fries, or do you like have resentment over...
No, I had French fries last night. But I kind of thought, okay, let me see what else I can find, like in this industry. And at the time, my mother was like going through a operation, so I came back here to kind of be with her while she kind of recovered. And at that time, the chef Alex Chang was doing the food at the Vagabond in Mimo. And
with Alvaro?
Alvaro, yes.
Literally just talked about that last week.
Yeah, I when I met Alvaro at the restaurant, he came by and I was like, you're like, we were talking about, just like, you're part of like my beginning,
Interesting.
And did that until, like, unfortunately the project closed, and I thought, you know what, mom's better now. I'd like to go back to LA and like kind of like see what else is there. I was 19, I think, and my first day in a kitchen was New Year's Eve night at the Vagabond.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like hooked. I was like, let's go. So I
what were you doing in the kitchen at Vagabond at midnight?
At
New Year's Eve.
Oh my God,
exactly.
On New Year's Eve, I was making probably this like ceviche with like yuzu and like puffed grains. I remember that. Like I remember this really good tomato salad with like a black sesame vinaigrette. I remember this beef tartare that was dressed like lab, and you put in like big nasturtium leaves. I remember some things from that restaurant. The food was really good. So I went back to LA. I asked Alex to kind of like set me up with a job at Animal, which is where he was at before he left. So I went there, joined the team. I think every time I started a new job, I was like in over my head, like a little bit. I was like a little bit green to, I think, be at every place. But
you were faking it till you made it.
Yeah, it worked out. And I did that for about a year. We got James Beard Award that year at Animal. That was a huge deal. We did so many incredible like chef dinners after. I think doing one with St. John from London with Fergus Henderson. I think seeing that like started to like pique my interest a little bit about like Europe. And then from there, he was going to be the chef for the Freehand like hotel that opened in downtown.
Miami's 27? No.
Yeah. So they I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think they sold the brand to Sidel Group.
Now.
And then no, this was
years
back then.
ago. Oh, when it first started. Okay.
Yeah. And then they started opening like Freehand Chicago, Freehand New York, Freehand LA. So the one in LA, beautiful restaurant.
Oh, the LA, okay.
I went to go help out with that, and then I had started working with incredible. I think one of the first chefs that like kind of changed my the way I think about ingredients and like where things come from and like how to move with it as it changes very quickly and abruptly sometimes, because you never know when a farmer is going to get like a frost or something, and it might kill an entire crop of something that you're depending on for the week.
In LA?
In LA.
Okay.
Most of the farms are like north, like Northern California or like Central California. Like not a lot of them are actually in Southern California. It's a little bit too dry, and the wind is so strong, especially in the summer. They call it like the Santa Ana winds.
I was just going to say that, but I was like...
It just feels like you take a hairdryer and you put it up to your body sometimes. And but we would take wheelbarrows. This was when he was a chef at Michael's in Santa Monica, which is very close to the Santa Monica Farmers Market, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's like arguably the best farmers market in the entire country.
I was just going to ask about California seasonality, so like you're going right into it.
A little segue.
Yeah.
And we would take these wheelbarrows and little like carts, and this is a big restaurant. We would. Did
you say which chef it was?
Miles Thompson.
Okay.
He has now Baby Bistro in Los Angeles. They've been getting so much great like write-ups and publicity. An incredible chef, really kind person too. Like truly one of the kindest people I ever worked for. Would give you the shirt off his back. Helped me a lot, both personally and in the kitchen. And we would go like early in the morning, go talk to the farmers. Sometimes we'd like sit down and eat like a tamal with them or something, and bring them coffee, and just see what was good. And sometimes we'd just like change something like on a whim on the menu for that week, and we bring it back to the restaurant. And that was always That was like where the work started. It's like, okay, now we got to process produce like stacked to the ceiling. And we're such a tight team. Like it's maybe 6 of us in the kitchen cooking for like 200 people a night and making like, it's not like we're just tossing pasta and butter and like you can pour it into a plate very easily. It's like we're making like plated food.
In the zone.
Yeah, completely. And the kitchen was huge. It was set up, the line was set up to have like 10, maybe 15 people working it. So you were like running back and forth. But it was a wonderful time.
Do you think there's anything in your cooking now that like it's like a nod to that time?
Every once in a while I'll make something and like I have mentioned like Miles like in the post, I think maybe twice, where I've made something that's like, this is so him. Or like I'll make something like, he always liked using like Japanese ingredients, but like kind of in a more like Italian way sometimes. And, like he might put like yuzu kosho in like a salsa verde or something. And it was really, really tasty. Like, he just made, like, such flavorful food. Like, you can never say anything that he made is, like, bland. And I think that's something that I always kind of, like, keep in the back of my mind. And having a bit of agility to, like, change the menu, like, when we need to. Which is, change it every month.
I know. The numbered things. I love that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, too. I have a collection going on. Okay, so then LA.
LA.
How long?
That was almost 4 years. That was like 3.5, maybe a little bit more than 6 months. Like somewhere between 3.5 and 4 years. I was there from pretty much like 19 still through like 22. And it was a wonderful time. Like, I think it was a great place for me to go and kind of come into my young adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
There's anyone and everyone from everywhere around the world in LA. You get to learn so much about different cultures. There's a little everything, By that I mean, like, there's, I think, 3 different little Tokyos. There's Little Armenia, there's there's Thai Town, in Hollywood. There's Koreatown, which is the largest population of Korean people, like, outside of Korea. So, like, the Korean restaurants and supermarkets and everything, like, it's super strong and like, authentic. And getting to almost feel like you could travel as, like, a young cook to different countries when you go to these different neighborhoods is super, super, I think it's beautiful.
Not enough Cubans, though.
There was one of the most famous bakeries, I feel bad, Porto's, is in LA, and it's a Cuban bakery.
Okay.
You should
I will
be happy about that. You should check it out.
I'm going to check it out, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm blanking. There's one Cuban restaurant. There's one Cuban restaurant. Yeah. And I used to go every once in a while for some vaca frita when I was, like, thinking about home.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that's not what I'm going to LA for.
No.
Where are my Cubans at? But,
They're there.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Colombians either.
That would be, yeah.
I met, like, one Colombian 4 years in LA.
Yeah, they're probably, like, from Medellin, like, somewhere else.
Yeah, it was hard to find that food, too. But everything else was amazing.
Yeah, I was just teasing.
Yeah.
And then?
And then I went to go do a stage at Quintonil for a summer.
Okay, and that happened how?
That was actually Alex again.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I'm kind of, I'd like to go see
something else.
I'd never really seen, like, fine dining like that yet. And I was very interested. I'd always had, like like Mexico, like in the back of my mind too, from my mom.
Right.
So I wanted to go there, and I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, do you know anyone? Like, I know you'd done like a stage there in the past." And he was like, "Yeah, this guy Miguel, or Cholo, as he would call him," and put me in touch. And 2 weeks later, I was like,
"Here I am. Bye."
Here I am. I moved out. Was so used to moving at that point that I was like, I could put all my things in one suitcase. And I'm good. And I went there, and this was when Airbnbs were
starting
very cheap and starting, and I got a little like studio above a mezcaleria in Condesa for like, I think $18 a night or something, and it was like perfect. I stayed there. I'd go there. I'd be there from like 7 in the morning to like 1 in the morning, and just trying to soak up as much as I could from all the talent that was there.
You speak Spanish, right?
Yeah. And it was fantastic. I worked so much, but I learned so much too. And they make things from such a deep understanding, I think, of like Mexican cooking and cuisine. Like sometimes, like we would take recipes that are like super, super, super old, and we would go, okay, like how can we kind of rework this like in a modern way, but still being true to like the spirit of like what this is supposed to be. It was really a really nice time, and I realized that I really enjoyed all the kind of intention like put behind some fine dining restaurants, like I think Quintonil does. And after that summer was over, I came back to Miami. I slept for like a week, and then I was like, I gotta work. And I think at that time was when Jaguar Sun had just opened, and I was like, oh great, they're serving like my favorite things. It's like Parker House rolls with honey butter and like country ham.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oysters. I was like, let me go see like what's going on with this. And
they're calling my name.
Yeah, and I went there, and it was like, you walk in, and it's like an apartment building, kind of hard to find, and I sit down, and it's like, wow, this is like super well priced. The cocktails were like fantastic, and it just felt very like honest, like there was no bullshit there, like it was, you are getting what you think you're getting and then some, and I really enjoyed that. Like I think it shows a lot of like who Will and Carrie are. It's like the things that they make. Like I think it still feels like it's very honest. Like you never feel like you're getting cheated or slighted in any way. So Jaguar Sun, pretty new. I asked him for a job like right there, right after I finished snacking, and he said, "Yeah, come in." Like,
after you finished sleeping.
Sorry.
You slept for the whole week.
I slept for the week, and then I was like, let me venture out and find a job. Yeah, it was almost like a cartoon.
I mean, Jaguar took Miami by storm. Like, it was like, we were all obsessed.
Great. It was...
we were still obsessed, but...
Yeah, of course. I mean, how could you not be? It's tell me where you could have a pasta for less than $20. Especially one that's made there.
And a good one. I was going to say a good one, yeah.
So I did that for like 9 months, and I always told, from the beginning, like I told Carrie, and I was like, look, I just want to be like upfront with you. I'm not gonna be here like long term. I'm trying to figure out like where and what I want to go do in my career like next. It's like whether or not that makes you want to hire me less now or whatever, but I just want to have like a clear conscience and tell you that now before we go into it. And he was good with it, and it was really, really important, I think, to like see that and see it kind of start building.
Plus, Miami's momentum at that point was chugging along.
Yeah. I think at that time was a lot of the people that you see very like established today were starting around that time or had just started within those like few years, I think. And like look at us now. Like I think it's a beautiful like food city that is growing. And then talking with Kerry and getting to spend a lot of time without him. He was with Pascal Barbeau and Les Restaurants in Paris, and it was like one of my favorite cookbooks at the time. And he was also sous chef like at Co in New York, and I was like, man, I always wanted to like go work for Sean Gray. Like he's such a like there are like chefs, like there are chefs that like other chefs really look up to and try to like maybe like capture a little bit of like what they do. And I think from that point forward, I always tried to go work for those people. So I asked Carrie, I was like, can you set me up? At least set me up with like a stage, in New York. And I was like, I really want to go work at Co. I had never had any experience in any sort of like 1-2 star kitchen, anything like that. Meanwhile, all this is happening within like me being, getting to the end of like 22, right? So I finished my time at Jag. It's the early summer. Kerry goes, okay. He says, just get there first. Yeah, so I'm like, you want me to like
just go,
drop everything and just go on like a maybe? And he's like, yeah, he just says get there first. And I was like,
I'm here.
All right, fuck it. I call a friend. I was like, I need to come stay on your couch for 10 days, like I think most people do when they move to New York.
Yeah.
And I go do that. I do the stage. It works out perfect. I think they had like 5 cooks leaving at the time, and they're about to go on summer break. So, stage, 2 days, got the job. Thankfully, one of my friend's roommates was moving out that summer because he was moving in with his girlfriend. So I went into his room, had a place to live. Everything was easy, and I just had to wait out the summer break. And then I started. And then the real work started. I was the youngest person working in that restaurant. It's 2 Michelin star restaurant in New York City. Never lived.
The least 2-star of all the 2s, like the least, not least, like the most different one. So all the other 2s they have a pattern. They have a thing that they're all very similar. And then you have Co.
Yeah, it was very.
It's not like
it was
the
very
plating is not like
contrarian.
Yeah,
like it was even some of the comment. Like I remember this
a wild
old,
card of all the 2s.
Yeah, like I always remember this Sean Gray dish. It was like poached celery and like uni, and I was like, how did you think of that? But like in my head, I'm like, I can see it, and I can see how that tastes really good because like celery kind of has this like iodine oceanic flavor. Have you ever had like Percebes? Mm-hmm. Like it almost tastes a little bit like that sense of like oceanic flavor, and like uni has that too, with like a touch of sweetness, but like the small lobe uni.
I'm gonna go look at my pictures, see if I ever had that. I don't know.
But yeah, just like having the confidence and like the idea and like the follow through to like push through with like dishes like that at that level in New York City, nonetheless, where there is the constant, I think, underlying tone of like being competitive with other restaurants around you because you're literally pulling for diners. It was really, really cool to see. And of course, like I wanted to go learn how to make Sean Gray's like pithiviers. I always saw like all of their proteins were like perfectly cooked. That was another thing that I went there. I was like, I want to go learn this.
Let's talk about the duck.
Oh, duck? Which duck? One of my...
Not in PVTA form.
No?
No.
So we did that...
It was literally just a beautiful duck on my plate.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I was talking about where it's very different. It wasn't like plated pretty and nothing was like... It was just the most perfect duck.
Yeah, but that's it.
Like, here's your plate with a duck.
That's,
Enjoy.
That's like true luxury, though, you know? It's like to have
once you try it, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like to have like a really nice product prepared perfectly. It's like, that's real luxury.
And
one of my favorite like duck cooking techniques that we did was like we would
it had a crispy skin.
Yeah, so we did a maltose dip, like Peking duck.
Right.
But we would put red wine in the maltose dip instead of water. And then it would dry as well after the maltose dip. And then we would kind of temper it in a smoker, so then it would get some like smoke flavor on it, and then we would hang it from a hook. Do you remember what year it was?
Probably 18.
18. I started there the next year. I was there, it was like just breaking a year, and then the pandemic hit.
Right. It was definitely before that. Crazy.
He was always famous like for those like duck dishes. Like that was
I mean, I'm still talking about it and I was 17.
Like we would also like kind of take the duck like on the ground and on the crown still, and put it in a pan like ripping hot and just kind of like rub it and a few times and then go in the fridge like quickly to chill, and do that like over and over and over until it was like perfectly cooked. It was a really great way to see like how every single little step like kind of builds up to being able to serve something so like minimal. Like I think a lot about like Japanese cooking in this way too. It's like it's such a minimal cuisine that you really see it where like skill and like preparation and like ingredient becomes like the most important thing to get to the end.
You were saying earlier about the egg.
Oh yeah.
We were talking off camera.
The egg.
The egg.
It's so funny because it's like so simple. It's Okinawa like potato, like sweet potato vinegar. It's very like tart vinegar, usually used I think for like sushi rice. Subis, nothing crazy, just onions that were cut like this and this thickness. Very classic. Butter, but we used the cave-aged butter, which is another reason why the subis tasted so damn good, because it was aged butter. The perfect egg that sits in the smoked water like for 24 hours. Smoky salt.
I'm testing you.
Chervil, chives, but the chervil has to be like, alive, obviously, and chive batons. You only cut with the skinnier chives, not any of the like thicker chives. And of course, like caviar and the little fingerling potato chips. And like that was it. And it went with the butter, the aged butter, and sourdough bread that we made every single day. And it's a great way to eat bread in a meal. And it was in the middle of your meal. It was not in the beginning.
That I don't remember.
It provides like a more like intentional way to like enjoy a bread course, especially when someone's making bread there every day for their guests. It was a good dish, but I cut so many. Oh my God! Like when you are boiling eggs, sometimes you don't know how thick the white is, because sometimes the yolk is a little bit more suspended and sometimes it sits a little bit more in the base. you're just hoping that it sits a little bit more in the base because you kind of have to cut the egg towards the thin part on the top of the egg, if it's a cone. I guess if this is the egg and this is a more rounded bottom and the top's here, you're cutting it here, right? Which is where the whites are thinner. So it's even harder to just cut the white, but you're keeping the yolk whole. You don't want to break it because you need the guest to have that moment of breaking it, and the egg yolk goes everywhere. So you cut it with a bird's beak knife, and then you gently, with the tip of the knife, split it open, and then you make the little quenelle of caviar, and then you got to place it right there in that little bit of egg white that you split open, and do that 24 times.
Right.
Straight.
That wow moment.
And it was it's such a simple dish, but that little preparation made it a little bit more difficult. And it's great. It's something that I'm sure you crave. I crave it sometimes.
Yeah, all the time.
It's
even the chips. You kind of get. Do you have more back there? Can you?
Yeah.
You bring some more of those chips. I like that.
Yeah, it's that was a great dish. Now that you can get it at Sunny's.
Yeah. I was thinking about that.
Yeah. I made so many of those. But yeah, ko was
It tastes different though. It doesn't taste the same. I mean, it's still good.
I think it's because
the butter.
Maybe the butter.
I mean, it's still solid, but
I also don't know. I don't know. They could be getting cave-aged butter too, but the cave-aged butter was expensive, and it was made there in New York as well. It was a dairy creamery would age it for us, and sometimes it's just so good. You open the pack and it just almost smells like cheese, and it has this grassiness to it. It's hard to beat. It's good butter is hard to beat,
Yeah. I have a friend who smuggles in French butter in her luggage.
I would too. It's not the first time I've talked about smuggling butter from France this week, actually.
Yeah.
One of my...
I'm how do you keep it all? That's a long flight. She's like, I do it.
Luckily, well, if you pack it in the center of enough clothes, if you're there in the summertime or something, the only thing you got to worry about is the bag getting from your hotel to the plane. But once
is
it's
a
on
Colombian
the plane,
telling me how to smuggle something into the country?
It's a bad stereotype. But the cabin, where the bag sits, it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
So from there, you're good.
We're good.
You're coasting.
Okay. 101. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Olive oil, butter, andouille, sobrasada, all that stuff that you're worried might melt.
Yeah.
Just make sure you insulate it with your cold clothing.
Okay.
But make sure it's packed well.
Of course. We don't do any of that at all.
So I was like, ko, and then the pandemic hit.
But let's go back to ko for a second. What was Chang's role at that point when you were there?
Sorry.
I was saying Chang's role.
He was barely... He wasn't there. I think that ko was widely known all over the restaurant group as something that operated on its own. It was to be untouched. That was Sean Gray's and Sue Wong's operation.
I always felt like that concept would work really great in Miami, the ko concept.
Having the ko bar in front and the tasting menu.
But just the food, because it wasn't as... it was fine dining, but it wasn't really fine. It wasn't... The service part of it was not as...
No, it was very...
On purpose. It was...
I mean, Sue's a legend, I think, in the hospitality industry around the world, and also in New York for that specifically. This kind of...
More relaxed.
Human touch to, hospitality that's, you're still hitting all the marks. The glass is never empty. The guest never feels like they have to, go find someone to get something that they need. It's invisible. Invisible service. And she's super good at it. I learned so much because it's an open kitchen. I never had to talk to customers until then. And
we were a party of 6, so...
you had it sat at one of the two tables.
So our experience was a little different because we had one of the tables.
Yeah. So I learned a lot from her about how to manage kind of making sure that this customer feels personally like cared for. Like you're asking them about their day genuinely, you know, and you're trying to find something that you can relate to them with. Like, not so many times you feel like someone is forcing, like being nice or something, or a cordial attitude. And I think there's always something there if you try like enough to where you can connect with every single person on like a very human level, to where they feel like seen and understood and cared for in a way that they appreciate. Some people appreciate not being spoken to so much, but they appreciate making sure that their plate is like perfectly placed in front of them. Their utensils are perfectly aligned.
It's one of my things.
It's
I live fixing utensils for chefs in restaurants before I take a photo. Like, why am I doing this for you? Like, I'm about to take a photo, and I'm like, oh, come on. I replayed everything.
No, I want to get like the little like get rests made for the utensils, because with the corks, like I have such a hard time sometimes getting it like perfect.
Yeah.
And those.
I noticed the cork the other day. I don't think I remember it before.
It wasn't there the last time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was something that we started. I was like, I don't want to like.
Yeah, it goes on the table.
Keep putting it on the table, you know, and I was like, we have all these corks, you know. It's like nowadays, like a lot of wine producers, they put their kind of branding on it, and sometimes it's kind of cute, and it's part of the restaurant. Like I want, you know, I think it's somewhere where people can also come and like enjoy a bottle of wine, and I want that to always kind of be in the subconscious, like wine to be attached to the restaurant as well, not just food and service. But back to like Sue's service at Co is fantastic. It was the first time that I had ever like thought about that experience. And it's something that I'm always revisiting my memories of that and those lessons today, because we kind of we run a lot of the food to tables. It's a beautiful way for people to interact with everyone in the restaurant, and I think it also feels special for them. It's like, who is going to talk to you about the plate in front of you better than the person that spent the last week slowly preparing things to make this? So that always stayed, and I think it's very important. Very important as well. It's like a nice thing to offer the guests.
The Quintonil experience, their service was good. No? It was like upscale too. Like,
no, yeah. I mean, the service was great.
Okay,
I think the service almost anywhere you go in Mexico City is going to be great. It's another thing I love going there and revisiting, because you feel so like cared for. And it's got a little bit of that extra like warmth,
of course,
you know, from being in a part of like Latin America. But yeah, it's beautiful. They're absolute like professionals. Yeah.
Sure. So then Co is pandemic, you were saying?
Co, pandemic.
Yay, pandemic.
New York. God, New York was so weird in those early days. Like it was like.
It's fine. They all came to Miami.
Yeah.
When are you going away? No, I'm kidding. Half kidding. They're still here. Other New Yorkers are still here.
And they're still here, double parking Sunset Harbor when I'm trying to get my croissant from True Loaf.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, it's money that
I know.
It's money that they're spending in the city. Miami has always been relying on tourism and people visiting us, and we embrace it. It's just a part of, ever since the city of Miami Beach decided we're going to make these beaches nice, it grew tourism here by an insane amount, and it's like kind of solidified us as a destination. I went to Menorca a few years ago, and they're like, where are you guys from? Like, Miami. They're like, what are you doing here? You guys have the nice beaches. You know, and it's we're known everywhere for certain things. So, like, it's always going to be a place for transient people, and you know, we deal with those problems as they come. Sometimes, you know, you get some bad people that come and visit the city and treat it like a playground.
Part of our quirks are part of our charm.
But yeah, I think just like embracing it and taking it for what it is, because at the end of the day, the more people coming here, spending money to dine, like at our restaurants, which like the amount of people doing like these independent projects like Recoveco, Shingo, My Place, you know, they're supporting the culture. Yeah, everyone else. I'm forgetting to mention a lot of people, but it helps grow the culture. Like, we need that money coming in
right now.
Yeah,
such a good core Miami group.
I think it's just gonna keep. We're all gonna keep like growing together, and you know, Miguel on Sunday was like, we're building community right now, and that's how I always have seen doing the collaborations. It's like not there to like make a ton of money, you know. It's like I wanted to do that menu for $85 per person because that's what we opened with. Like, I wanted to do it to like revisit and like honor that and like kind of remember how we started and like where we've come, and kind of get everyone together like in the same place and spend some time together, because we're all open the same days. We're all open Wednesday through Saturday, you know, and as much as we wish we could like go to each other's restaurants every week, we can't.
Yeah.
So I think these like intentional collaborations are really important for like building and continuing to further like our own like interior like chef culture here. And it's been a lot of fun. And then back to the pandemic.
Yeah,
COVID, let's see. I was, you know, we're in New York and we're kind of like thinking like, what does it look like? I was about to sign a new lease.
It's very strict up there.
Yeah, I was about to move to Greenpoint. I was kind of over like the fine dining thing. I was a little bit like burnt out for sure. So I was like, I'm gonna take it easy, you know, go work at this like French restaurant in Greenpoint, enjoy my time in New York, spend more time with my girlfriend, you know, and just like live a little bit, because my life was work. That's why I moved to New York, was to work at Co. with Sean Gray and the team there, and pandemic hit. Something didn't feel right about signing a contract when I wasn't going to work every day, so I was like, I'm not going to sign this lease. And then things, they developed every day, especially in New York. When it hit New York, it was like, all right, whatever this is going to continue to spread at a rapid rate if it's in New York City. And then we started realizing, like, should we go back home? Because she's from here as well.
I was going to say she's from Miami.
And we're like, look, we don't know what's going to happen here. It's a huge city. You never know how people are going to act. It is, you're not so, like, in control of like, the environment. So we decided to come back here until things were going to, like, calm down. But, like, we never moved out of our apartments. Like, we kept our apartments as is and with our things inside. And then, as you know, like, the whole world, like, turned upside down. And we realized, like, shit, we're not going back to New York. Like, we're going to stay here. So started thinking, like, what do I do? You know, like, restaurants are closed. And it's not looking like they're going to open anytime soon. I think I just came back and It
was supposed to be 2 weeks.
It's supposed to be 2 weeks. I heard that so many times. It's just 2 weeks.
I mean,
we'll be fine.
To be fair, Miami was back open within like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Open-ish. We're like, yeah, what pandemic?
Yeah.
Just wear a mask outside. We're good.
Yeah. And, I did that, and I was like pretty bummed out. I was like, fuck, my career was going so well. I had just like finished this like stretch at this incredible restaurant. I had so many like job offers, like just to go to Europe or like to go to like Asia, to like Singapore or like Tokyo to like go work, and I was excited. It's like, wow, like I'm finally starting. I'm finally like getting to work like in this upper echelons of fine dining, I guess. And then everything stopped, and I was like, I always have, and I still have this thing in my head where I'm like, you need to make the best of your time. You need to make the best of your time. You need to keep like running. I don't want to end up like old and like regretting that I didn't do something, or I didn't do this, or I didn't squeeze the most juice out of this. Like I always have this like in my head, like I have to keep going. I have to keep going. So it was really hard to stop. And I tried doing like selling some like meals to like people like around my dad's like neighbors and stuff. Like that kept me a little bit busy, but it was tough. And then finally, Carrie started doing Sunnies in Lot 6. Outdoors, tables split apart. Miami, as you said, was
right. As
open.
long as you were outside, yeah.
You had
and
enough.
A different theme. It wasn't a steakhouse-ish yet.
No, it started with tacos.
Theme.
Yeah. It started with tacos.
Picnic tables, tacos.
It slowly moved its way. It's like naturally, because it's like, what can you do outside? You can grill, And it's like there was no infrastructure. It was literally a lot.
Thing outside, yeah. A little shack outside.
Like no plumbing, no electrical, none of this. Like everything was slowly added bit by bit. So I think that's how it naturally kind of like formed into being a steakhouse. It's like perfect time, perfect place, people from all over the country coming here because they could have some sense of like normalcy, and we did that, and it just exploded, and it was cool, and it was difficult. It was physically the most difficult job I ever had.
Plus grilling, the summers, the rain, like all that.
Yeah, the summer.
Elements were
Imagine
brutal.
Grilling in front of a 1,000-degree grill outdoors, Miami summer,
July.
with a mask. It felt like you're waterboarding yourself.
Yeah.
Like it was tough. At the time, I was cycling a lot, and I was like, man, Gatorade is not enough. But I had these like salt tablets that I would take when I would go on these long rides of like 50 to 70 miles, even in the summer. And in the hardest points of the ride, I would take a salt tablet like every hour. And what it does is it allows your body to actually absorb the water you're putting into it. So I took those while I worked, and then I was good to go. I figured out like the recipe, but that's how much, you would like sweat out there on the grill.
Yeah. And
it was so busy, but it was fun. And we're all so happy to like be cooking, like no one was still cooking anywhere. All my friends in New York was
forget that.
Sad. And now they're back and everything feels alive again, and it's so wonderful to see that. But we're just happy to be cooking, like outdoors, and it was fun. It was fun to get back to that and like be doing something, and I did that for. Well, we ran Sunny's Outdoor for like just over like 2 years, and I was with them, and then we kind of like shut down Lot 6 for a little bit because we were able to go back to Jaguar Sun and do the restaurant indoors, did that, and then we're like, fuck, everyone wants like Sunny's again, so they're like, we're going to run it back again, and then went back to Sunny's, we did it, and then I was kind of reaching like close to 2 years, like at that point, and I was already kind of...
You're like, who am I? Getting antsy. You need to go travel somewhere.
Yeah, no, I talked with Carrie. I was like, look, I don't know what I'm going to do, but like, I know that I need to like go do something else. I was like, I'm thinking maybe of like moving back to New York and working for Cesar. Like I was asking him and like our mutual friend Chase, who was a sommelier there at the time. Like, you know, how's it like, how's the environment, like what's this like? And I'm like, oh man, like I don't know if I want to go get back into that, like in New York again.
Pretty intense, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's 3 stars, you know, it doesn't, I don't think it has to be like that, but
yeah,
there's a certain intensity you need to like achieve, I think, anything like at a high level. Like you need people around you to like meet certain standards. And I figured like maybe New York isn't the answer again. We revisited, it still felt a little bit like, I don't know, like it wasn't the right move. We tried going back to LA, seeing like, oh, should we go back to LA? My girlfriend at the time, like now my fiance, she'd never been to LA, and I wanted to show her the city. But it was also like kind of in a weird place from COVID. Like I think it still is, from what I hear from friends. And, you know, we kind of came back here like, let's be here for a little bit more and then see like what's what. And I figured, let me go. I saved all this money. I was like, let me go stage around in Europe and then see how I feel about this, because her sister is in Stockholm. So the idea of living in Europe was not so crazy because she could have some family there.
Right.
And everything's very close. You know, even if we lived in Paris, it would be, I think it's 3 hours or just under 3 hours to Stockholm. Like it's easy.
Yeah, or you could drive from here to Orlando.
Yeah.
Which is best.
I'll take the Armagnac. So I set up some stages and we went to London first. Ikoyi for 2.5 months in the old space, not the new one in the Strand. It was also when World's 50 Best was doing the ceremony there. So we were getting all these chefs from around the world coming into the restaurant, and it was so incredible. It's such a small kitchen too. It's like barely any space. It's like not too dissimilar from like the size of what we had. And they're just like making this beautiful menu full of personality and flavor, and it was so unique. And figuring out how to like work with the constraints of the space, you know, that's like we would have to get the meat delivery in for every day. Like the meat purveyor would age the meat to spec of what they wanted, and they would deliver like, you know, half of a rib for the day because that's what we needed. And then the next day, the same thing, you know, another half of a rib. The idea of that is insane, that he got these people to like work with him in that way. And it was a wonderful, small, like young team. And it was so much fun. Like it was just so much fun. Every single bit of time I had in Europe was so much fun, and it was reviving like a love for fine dining. And I did that. I went to Lyle's for a few weeks. It was really interesting to see like this space that was like so small and like under-equipped, but still pushing so like far. And then to go to Lyle's and see like, wow, they have this entire like cellar of like fermentations and hams and like charcuteries, and so organized the way that they had the team. Like everyone worked a 4-day week. Like it was really cool to see as well. And they held the star for so many years, consistently. And then afterwards, we kind of like had a little like mini vacation, and then I saw that one of the restaurants I really wanted to go stage at was Maison by Sota Atsumi, who was he was a chef at Clown Bar before, and this was his first restaurant, but they closed very, very quickly after they opened because of the pandemic, and then they had to close again because of an issue with like the HVAC system, because they were next to an apartment building. So all the smoke from the HVAC was like blowing into the apartment. So they had to build a chimney along the side of this building so it would exhaust above it. Right time, right place. We were kind of chilling for the month of August because most countries are pretty much on vacation for August. Mm-hmm. And we get back and they sent me an email like, yes, please come. And it almost felt like we were reopening the restaurant. And it was incredible. After 10 days, I was like, I called my girlfriend. I was like, I'm going to stay here like until my visa's done. Like, I need to see more. I need to, like, there's truth here. Like, there's meaning here.
Is that still open?
Yeah, it is. I have no idea how they don't have a star. I know it's
a whole other topic.
I know it's maybe a little bit more difficult in a city like Paris, but he's like I would put him in like Kobe Desmero, like in the same category of like chefs that other chefs really look up to. Incredibly creative, but like in a very utilitarian way, all the fish was coming in from Basque Country, like all the game birds were coming in from Burgundy, the produce from all over France and sometimes Italy, and it was kind of crazy because he wouldn't really order anything. He just had a general understanding with his purveyors, like, I need this amount of this, and just send me whatever you think is best. And we would just make a new menu every single day. And it was incredible. I've never seen product like that in my life. Like, imagine if, you're getting scorpion fish and John Dory's and turbots from the middle of Basque Country, and I couldn't think of a better place to buy fish from. And pigeon like you've never had before. Like, it's a totally different. I know. Me too. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm just like, man, I could really go for like one of his like pigeon dishes right now, or like a lobster dish. And I had so much fun with the team. They were so good. The pastry chef, like Rikako, like her pastries were so like natural and expressive, like the ingredients that they were using. And Marcin was like kind of like the CDC at the time, that now he just opened his restaurant Soupsel in Paris, just getting a ton of like great buzz and just very, very talented people that I got to be around over there, that I needed to stay as long as possible. And it kind of solidified the idea of like what I wanted my first restaurant to be.
So at this point, you were already thinking like, all right,
yeah,
I'm ready.
I was like, I'm either going to stay in Paris, and I started the process through my Colombian nationality, or I'm going to go back home and go out on my own and open a restaurant, a tasting menu restaurant that's always changing, that's affordable is like a relevant, term. It's what's affordable is different for many people, but like in terms of like what is going on like in the ecosystem of restaurants, I wanted to make something that was something that like a line cook somewhere here can go eat on their day off and have a nice time. So I started piecing together like what that would look like. I started looking at spaces when I was still in France. I made the decision that I should go back home and do this and settle myself and plant some roots down to stay. Because it was also going to be the only way I was going to be like happy, like staying here. And I knew I wanted to live in Miami, and I knew my fiance definitely wanted to stay in Miami.
But also now you had a really good background and understanding, a very well-rounded background understanding. So if as an outsider, it sounds like it was a great timing.
It was
great timing. Like,
okay,
I have all this.
Yeah, like I think
experience and vision. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was like, the only thing is to just do it. I was like, time to like put in the work. What is it going to take? How much do I have to raise? And that was a whole other thing, but I had made the decision. I was like, I want to come back home and open a restaurant. I want to open the kind of restaurant that, like, I wanted to work at. That was perfect for me, and the idea started building from there. I knew it was going to be a tasting menu. I knew it was going to be less than 30 seats. I knew that it still needed to be enough seats so I could pay the insane rent prices like down here, and kind of started building a plan from there. And I was like, okay, what's it going to look like? I was like, what is a design, a design like quality that I could take that I know is inexpensive to make, but feels intentional. I was like, I started thinking about like the juxtaposition of like brutalism in Latin America, because it's like brutalism is very cold and there's edges and it's gray and it's concrete. But then I was like, you go and you see it in Latin America, and it's like, it's painted pink, and there's plants hanging over it, and and it's alive, and you can hear people, and
Then the melted candles brings in.
It's a little bit of romance,
right? And the lighting, the dim lighting.
And it all came together. I was like, okay, I know it's gonna be like lime wash. I really love.
Is after finding the location, or no, just in general. Oh, okay.
No, this is before. I was thinking about like the design of the restaurant, but I didn't have money to like hire a designer, and I also it's like trust is a big thing for me, and I didn't know anyone at the time. Now I know some people that I would trust to help out with the design of a space or something, but I didn't know anyone, and I knew I wanted that. I knew I wanted, laminated birch plywood furniture because it's low in cost, but I really love seeing the layers of it, and it's stable. I knew that I wanted some kind of like, most of the floors in houses in Colombia have like river rocks, like set into the concrete. So it almost looks like a terrazzo, but not really. So I knew I wanted the countertop to have that feeling. So I had it made with like river rocks, different sizes, like set into it, but like polished flat, so it would feel like a terrazzo. The candles, I knew I needed to be like an open kitchen. And I found 2 spaces. One was rented. I showed up, literally standing in the rain, calling the agent that I'd set up the meeting with, and he calls me. He's like, "Oh, I actually rented that last week." And I was like, "You didn't
think of telling me?"
Think of telling me?
Yeah.
And that was the old cake Thai space.
Oh my gosh.
On Biscayne and 79th?
Yeah.
And I thought,
that's much smaller, no? Or
but I wanted something that small. I was like, I wanted something that I could work with like 2 people. And it was, you go to Paris, there's like tons of places that are, it's like it's like this, it's like a little room. So I thought, okay, what else is there? And I found the space that I'm in now. It had the shape, almost this like shotgun shape that I thought was very like efficient. The layout was open. It wasn't set up really to be a restaurant. It was supposed to be like a cafe, I think. So it didn't have enough electrical or plumbing or anything. But it was a blank box. It had a hood that was working. It had a new grease trap. And the walls were already primed, white. The floor was unfinished. There was no counter. There was nothing there. There wasn't enough plumbing, all this stuff. But it was the right shape, and I thought it could work. And the location, I'd known it because, for one, going to Garcia's, and for two, my mom had always gone to the mechanic on the corner of the bridge, like
and
growing
that's
up.
not a Miami story. And the little supermarket right next door.
Yeah. And I'd known this, I had like a little sense of familiarity. And as I you step outside and you can see downtown, you can see Brickell. I live maybe in one of the furthest neighborhoods, in like Miami Beach area. But nothing is more than 20 minutes away of like core Miami. And we had a parking lot. It's a city where you drive, you don't. There's not much public transit to take to get around, and so you're getting in a car and you're setting out and you got to put your car somewhere, And I thought, okay, the street parking's super easy in the daytime. The parking lot's here, tons of space. This could work. There's no other restaurants around here really, but this could work, and signed the lease, and then the mission started. I was handling everything. I was handling the permits for the business. I had my day scheduled in a way where I knew I needed to spend the early morning going to the city and county offices to handle the permitting. And then the midday into afternoon was for working on the space. And then the nighttime was for checking on like financials and anything on my computer. And every day was structured in that way so I could get the most amount done.
And this is true. It took him 2 years to answer my email.
Yeah. And maybe telling you all this now makes sense.
Yeah.
I
had to put it in there somewhere.
I had so much. I was doing everything, when you sent me the email, I was also handling the wine for the restaurant. And like making time to like taste while also like doing running the business and then running it as the chef. So it was
You were busy.
It was just a little bit, right? But it was a lot.
And now you're ignoring purveyors on the phone.
No, I'll call him back. He's doing me a favor. But it was a lot. Handling the permitting process, all of that. I remember I would show up. I was like, I'll see you again tomorrow at the same time until we figure this out. And eventually they would either get sick of me.
Right. That's a good one.
Or just want to help me because they saw I really cared about this.
Yeah.
And it all worked out.
How long from finding the space to opening?
3 months.
That's record time?
3 months.
Okay.
Took us, the longest task was lime wash painting it. It was me and my fiance doing the whole thing, and it's kind of a tall space, and it all has to be done by hand, and you have to do at least 2 layers. So it was a lot, but everything was the both of us and some of my family, my dad, my stepfather, my mom, everyone kind of came together to help make it happen. Her father as well, and her mother. But everything is, like, the speakers that are in there, like, they're mine, that I had at home. The wiring is, I went to Best Buy, I bought speaker wires, and I bought these little plastic things to run the wire through along the wall. Like, it's all put together. I put the amp there in front of the range because I knew I was going to be having to cook and control the music and also be expoing on the little area of the wall at the same time.
Explain Palma for those who have never been there or haven't heard of it, or what would you want them to know about it?
Palma is, we do a 9-course tasting menu that changes monthly, but with the intention of working with product, like when it's at its best, to allow that flexibility. I think usually like people want to ask like, what is a cuisine, and it doesn't really fit into one shoe, it's like, it reflects a lot of like my own experiences growing up. Like, I kind of like ate my way through the world. Like, we got to travel so much, being a part of like an airline family. I've gotten to go to like Asia, all over South America, like much of this country, much of Europe. I've been so lucky to see and eat so much that it would be remiss to not mention that. And that's why it's so difficult to kind of like put it in like one box, because a lot of the dishes, like, they're either ideas I have because I know this ingredient is coming in and I was like, man, I think this combination is going to be really nice. Or it's built on like a memory of like, wow, like I really want this like piece of turbot to have like a kiss of flames from like one that I had like in Spain like 5 years ago or something. Or like I want this dish with like lobster head in it to like taste and have this like certain creaminess of like something I'm remembering from like another trip, or like I want this to taste like a soup dumpling that I've had in like Beijing, like when I was a kid. And I'm always like toying with these like memories and like how to kind of make some of these parts of a dish come out.
My first experience, I was so excited to visit, and then I remember I just opened the door. I think I was like one of the first ones there because I had an early reservation.
Yeah.
And then the aroma of the plantain bread.
Yeah, that's.
That's what welcomed me, and I guess because it's a small space. But I remember I threw the door open. I was very excited, and I was like, "Oh!" And you were like there. You looked up. You're like, "Oh, welcome!" And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Like I could smell it now.
Yeah, it's the only thing that doesn't change.
Better not.
It's I knew
it just hit me like in the best of ways.
What's better? It's like the
besides bread, it's intoxicating in the best way.
It's you can almost smell that there's maduro like in it.
Yes.
Because there's a little bit of like sweet earthiness in the smell, like, even when you bake the bread. But that was a whole like I was like, I want to make a bread that feels like it could only exist here. Like I want to make a bread that
so that's
has
a Miami touch.
Some kind of like nostalgia, yeah. And it's like I grew up with maduros, like I'm sure you did. I'm sure many people that grew up in Miami, whether they are,
it doesn't matter where they're from. They grew up with maduros.
American through and through or not, or from Europe or whatever. If you grew up here, you know what they are. And I wanted to make a bread and butter course that was like emblematic of like the city that we're in. So it's like I really like the idea of like the maduro with like a soft like brioche. So I kind of like figured out a hybrid recipe of like brioche and like Parker House roll. And then in the butter, I wanted to make. My mom makes like the best arroz con coco, which is like you have to reduce coconut milk down until it's just like the fat and the sugars, and it looks like almost like little like Rice Krispies of like brown coconut goodness. So I was like, I want to take that and then like whip that and some of the fat with some really nice like butter, and then I want to like dust it with some plantain leaves to add a little bit more like aromatic touch, but use this ingredient. You always remember the smell, if you've had like a tamal or something like wrapped in it, you remember you open it and you just get the smell of like the leaf. So I was like, let's try like drying it and turning it into like a spice and dusting the butter with that, and then it's like the whole like
it's perfect
experience.
Yeah.
And haven't changed it since. I really love it.
Good. How long from when you opened to the Michelin ceremony last year? It hadn't been a whole year, right?
It was maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. My sense of like time, of like the beginning of the restaurant to now is like so crazy.
Well, it was April 25.
Yeah.
And you opened when in 24?
We opened.
Well, you just had an anniversary, so.
We opened January.
Okay. So a little bit over a year.
Yeah, we opened like I think the second week of January.
24.
Yeah, 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that ceremony. It was last year's ceremony, 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
So you get an email or an invite or.
Yeah, I got an email. Well, actually, first it was like the request for like the survey.
Oh, right.
And then I was like.
The surveys where they ask your information. And
confirm this information.
Your address, all that stuff. Yeah.
All of this, and I was like, oh shit. They've been to the restaurant. They wrote about this. I know they had this menu because we change it every month. So.
Right. And you put numbers on your menu.
Yeah.
I love.
And I was like, oh, wow. I guess I'll fill this out and add some photos and see what happens.
How early did they go based on what they said?
It was September.
Okay, so later in the year.
Yeah, like 8-9 months in.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Better than right in the beginning.
Yeah, and definitely better than right in the beginning.
Although I went menu number 1.
Yeah.
And 10.
Yeah.
And then I think like after that, but then you started doing it not weekly. You started right because.
Yeah, we switched from weekly to monthly because it was.
Right.
It was.
Yeah, that was very ambitious at first.
It was madness. I think it's definitely possible, just like with more.
Yeah.
More staff.
But my 1 and 10 for sure were weeks, and then you went into monthly.
Yeah. It was the best change like we could have done.
Yeah, and then so you get the survey.
You get the survey, look at it, approve it. I was like, "Fuck, when's the ceremony?" I was like, "When does the ceremony even happen for like Miami?" You know. And I was like, "Okay, it looks like it's gonna be like the first week of April." So I'm just like anxious, like until then. I'm like, "What is it?" And then I get another like survey as well. So then I'm like, I don't think we're just getting added to the guide. Like something else is gonna be given
for pictures.
To us. Yeah, like just that. Like we also got a request for like an interview from like Michelin for a news article. So it's like they don't just do that for like everyone.
Right, the recommended, right?
So then that made me more anxious, and obviously like going into it like you're hopeful and we drove out there and it was a really wonderful surprise, and I think it was really cool because it was like I think that award's really cool.
Very cool.
The Young Chef Award. I think it's.
I think it was a perfect award.
I feel that way too, as well. I think it's almost like we believe in you.
Yeah.
Like we see what you're doing. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool. I was like, I looked at Daniela, my fiance, and I was like, "Was that's my name?" And she's like, "Go." and yeah.
By the way, it was the Young Chef Recognition Award.
Yeah, the Michelin Young Chef Award for Florida.
So what are your goals now? How's it going? What are you planning for now?
My goals are just, we're going through some really wonderful, like, growing pains right now. The restaurant is busy.
You're up to menu 29? Is that the one I had the other day?
Yeah, 29 right now. Mm-hmm. I'm in the middle of writing menu 30. Sean and Alyssa have been, like, a wonderful addition to the team. Alyssa's like our front of house manager now, and Sean's handling the beverage program. like...
Is that who I met the other day? I think I had already met him before.
Yeah.
Saw him?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have met him before. And it's just them, like, understanding what I want to do so well. Just a kind of, like, honest, genuine, like, hospitality, no frills, like, for anything. Like, it's all very, like, very there and, like, in front of you. There's no smoke show or, like, tricks. Just, like, building this team and, like, continuing to grow with them and, like, better guide everyone and just keep pushing, like, getting a little bit better, like, every month. That's it. It's, like, a little bit better every month. And then we all feel good. Like, a little bit better over here, a little bit better for, like, the guest experience, a little bit better for, like, our beverage list and our offerings, a little bit better.
This last menu was my favorite one so far.
Thank you. I hope it continues to feel that way for our guests, like, as we evolve.
The last course, the pork.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I really like that's from like a memory, from like a trip that we took to Portugal. It's like having some of the best pork that I've had in my life was on that trip. But it's just that, just to keep getting a little bit better in every single part, even from the moment where, like, you as a guest, like, make a reservation, and then when we, like, contact you, like, the day before, like, giving that opportunity to see if there's anything, like, special going on, if there's anything that they say, like, oh, I'm so excited to, like, also come, like, drink wine or something. Then we know, like, okay, let's go, like, come with a few things, to the table to see what they're into and, like, how we can better personalize each reservation. But yeah, that's my biggest goal and ambition right now for the restaurant.
Why the name Palma? I forgot to ask you.
So it's kind of the idea of, like, us. It's a bridge between, like, the restaurant to the guests, right? Is, like, we're offering them, like, what we do with our hands, with our palms. It's how we, like, connect with them.
Oh.
That's why our logo is like a hand.
I always thought Palma like palm tree, like Florida, palm tree, like Palma.
It's deeper than that.
But I've always wondered about the hands and on the Brian. Okay. Okay, got it. Like, why does he keep having the hand? It's all different versions of the hands, like doing different things. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. This okay.
Yeah, it was like a relaxed hands. We actually looked at a lot of. When we went to go get the plates in Colombia for the restaurant, we went to Museo del Oro in Bogota, and I was so inspired by all of the literally ancient art that was made with gold, and just the way that they would form, like, hands are very hard to do in art, and the way that they would, like, sculpt hands in certain ways, either, like, in stone or, like, with gold, or maybe, like, imprinting, like, onto gold or something. Like, I was very inspired by that, and the logo kind of, like, developed from that.
Because come to think of it, there's not a whole lot of palm tree leaves on your anywhere in the restaurant. So I was like, why did he name it Palma? I don't get it. Okay, it only took a few years to figure that out. Got it. Okay, sounds great.
But yeah, that's how the name came to be.
Fun. Well, so 5 years from now, new location, new restaurant. What do you think would be in your wheelhouse?
I think I would love. I don't ever want to move Palma. Like, I think I would love to see that be there and become a.
That little spot is now becoming surrounded by a whole lot of other restaurants and night scenes. So
yeah,
it's ended up being a good decision.
I think that whole corridor is, like, bound to be developed whether that ends up being like good or bad for us is
Right.
another thing. I guess that'll all depend on who ends up being our landlord.
Right.
If that changes. But I'd love to see the restaurant become somewhere where you can kind of see other like talent from the city like come in and like run it as like a like chef de cuisine and kind of like show what they can do, and then like be this place in the city where people come in, run it, show who they are and what they can do, and then like go off and start their own restaurant. Like that's my ultimate like dream.
Right, like others did for you.
Yeah.
Has Miles come into the restaurant?
No, he's been so busy opening his. I'm trying to. I'd like to
Get him in.
Get him out for a dinner. So Rezi, if you can give the nudge. But yeah, it's on my list to get done. I'd really love to have Miles in there because I want him to see it, but I also want to express to him like in person like how important he was for my career. But that's my like more long-term goal or like dream for the restaurant is to kind of like hope that it turns into a place to like keep fostering talent like in the city, and hopefully some other things like along the way.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything I didn't touch upon that you want Miami diners to know?
Just if you haven't come to see us,
Yes.
come see us, come visit us.
Yes.
And I think it's nice because you can come back every month and have
Something
a different experience.
Except the bread. That's always going to be
Except
there.
for the bread.
Well, I'm glad we made this happen.
Yeah.
Very much like he said, Palma isn't loud. It's not trying to be everything. It's controlled, intentional. And that restraint might be its greatest strength. Plus, there's the plantain bread, as I said. And if today's conversation resonated with you and what we just said, here's what we want you to do. Go experience it for yourself. Make a reservation. Taste the progression. Pay attention to the pacing. Notice the ingredients. See how Miami is evolving in real time through chefs like Juan.
Thank you.
And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who still thinks Miami isn't a serious food city. That narrative is so outdated. And subscribe, leave a review, and stay with me because I am continuing to document the chefs shaping this moment. And also, before you go, something new is coming on my end. For those of you who want the deeper cuts, the behind the scenes, the unfiltered industry analysis, the fun and at times scandalous bits, and the conversations that don't always make the main feed, Supplement is on the way. Subscriber content you will not want to miss. More soon. Ciao. Until next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.